This lesson is all about mood or tone in a book, which talks about the feelings that the book evoke in you. And there's a list here. I'll just scroll down to it. These are some things that you could use to describe the tone of a person or a book. So I'll just grab a couple here. So brave, the whole book could have a brave tone, or a person can be acting in a brave way. Cheerful, compassionate, relaxed, joyful, optimistic, angry, condescending, manipulative, amused, pompous, silly. Okay, so sometimes it's helpful to have a list of words handy for you to grab. So that's why I've included this here. And I want you to pick a couple of these words that you think would describe the whale and the snail. And the mood of the book changes from the beginning to the end. So there are times in the book where I would say it's quite calm. There are times in the book that are optimistic, when the snail at the beginning is wanting to go on these adventures. There are times that they are worried and we're not sure if the whale's going to make it. I wouldn't describe The Snail and the Whale as silly, though. There's no part of it that's really silly. Other books are, though. For example, if you remember from March Madness, we had Don't Push the Button. Okay, so this one was kind of a silly book. And you can go back and rewatch that one if you want. And then I have a few other ones here that have different moods or tones that I'm just going to show you. I know they say you shouldn't be judging a book by its cover, but in some cases, especially in picture books, the artwork is going to tell a lot of the mood or tone for you, as well as the other aspects. So the other aspects that I'm talking about would be setting, characters, plot. All of those things work together to create that mood. Okay, here's another one. Okay, and this one's kind of humorous. It has some sarcasm in it. This is another one from March Madness that you probably remember. Okay, Show and Tell. And it's a Robert Munsch book, and Robert Munsch is often silly, but also usually has a lot of other tones too. And one Robert Munsch book might be more playful, another one might be more facetious, another one might be more critical of something. Okay, so easier again to pick out the mood and tone sometimes when we're thinking about picture books, because you have the additional information that the illustrator gives you. But you can definitely do this with novels too. So just as a bit of a mental exercise, I want you to think about what is the tone or mood of The Hunger Games? Okay, and what is the tone or mood of the first Harry Potter book versus the last Harry Potter book? It's very different. Understanding mood and tone helps you to understand what the author's doing. It also helps you to understand the book a little bit better. The mood or the tone of Lost and Found is quite different than the mood or tone of The Snail and the Whale. Lost and Found is a little bit more sad, but also hopeful if you consider how it ends. Again, these are your own opinions about things. So one of you might say, I think The Snail and the Whale is definitely a silly book. I don't find it to be really silly, but as long as you can justify that, in other words, as long as you can give me a reason why you think that, you're probably right. If we were to be discussing this in class rather than doing online learning, as long as you could back up your opinion with a reason and with evidence from the book, it's a valid reason. You just don't want to be saying, I think that Lost and Found is an angry book, but I have no reason for that, and I can't explain it using the book at all. That's not a valid opinion, but if you can back it up, it's just as valid as anybody else's.